face. Is it clear? You guys sure? So we're gonna be a team, you know that, right? So I'm expected to deliver a product at the end of the day, myself. So I expect you to deliver that as well. So if you have any questions, you should really address it. Any vague things. The products are gonna be needed by people, real human beings. So there's gonna be like engineering meetings and stuff like that. I'm like gonna be one of the developers. So I will be asked, you guys are my team. Did you deliver from what I have told you? I expect you to do that. Yeah, I see a lot of yeses. Okay, so code reviews, testing and everything is gonna be harsher. We will keep it to the standards of big tech. So like Emre was mentioning, and I also got a ton of harsh code reviews back in Google. We will keep that here as well. I expect you guys to deliver harsh reviews, constructive ones. Don't be rude, definitely, but yeah, you guys are going to be reviewing each other's code, and we have to deliver the product. You guys are my team. Yes, I'm keeping it straight with you guys. Awesome. All right. So experience sharing. I believe you guys know him quite well. He was here head last year, and he has been interning at Bloomberg last summer, and now he's going to be returning back this summer as well. A project lead here, and also a head of education. So, Fakir, could you join us?
Hi everyone, I'm back again. Yeah, I feel like I've shared my experience to you guys for like a lot of times, so I don't know what new thing I'm gonna say, but maybe for this time around we can focus it more on development side of things.
Tell them that they are a part of your team. They have to deliver.
Yeah, that's true. So, as he said, we're gonna be doing the projects in teams. So we're gonna be together and working together to deliver the projects. Yeah. So to start my experience, I guess I can start with my first PR when I was at Bloomberg. It's an interesting story. So, just like Emre said, it was kind of like a straightforward change. It was actually a script I was making, and I made it, and it was relatively easy for me to make. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make a pull request, yeah, and then it's gonna be approved, and then I'm off to my next task. And then I put it, and then suddenly I get a lot of emails, right? Emails were from GitHub, not GitHub, but Bloomberg. They have their own version of GitHub, but I get a lot of emails. I was like, "What's happening?" Turns out I'm getting a lot of comments on like 200 lines of coding. Yeah, the first one was ego bruising. I didn't expect that many comments on that amount of code. But then, I asked, is this just me or is this everyone? And they were like, no, it's everyone. It's everyone. So everyone's gonna get this kind of comment when they make their first PR. Yeah, it's supposed to be funny. Yeah, it's not funny.
Yeah, you will see it soon enough, right? Just doing big tech and
Yeah.
send your first PR or change list. Actually, it's called the change list.
Yeah, but anyway, furthermore, I can also talk about how the workflow was for my team in Bloomberg. So I was in a team. It was a small team. There were 5 engineers, including me was 6. I'm just an intern. Yeah, we used to have stand-up meetings. I believe it's going to be a part of our setup as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be agile.
Stand-up meetings. We're going to be agile, and in those meetings, you basically talk about there is 2 sections in that meeting. The first section is you basically update what you did, and we have like a big Kanban board, like a what's it called?
Backlog.
Yeah, the backlog. So you basically will have some tasks, and then when you work on them, you move them to in progress, and then once you make a PR, you move them to peer review, and there are a lot of stages after that as well, because we have to test them in different servers and stuff like that. There is a lot of steps, but it's basically you take a task and then move it and then move it. That's how it works. That you start with a requirement and you finish with a product or a feature. So in that meeting, you basically say, "This is what I did yesterday or last week," stuff like that. And then after, there is a design meeting where we talk about the design of. Um, so it can be two things. One, you can talk about, for example, if you're having um, a bug, for example, or an issue or like a blocker, you basically get to talk it with the rest of the team so they can help you. Um, it can be a lot of different issues. It can be a version error or whatever, right? If you're having a blocker, you're gonna talk there. Or if you have a new idea to improve the design, you get to talk about it, that design change there as well. So it's kind of like dynamic and it's very interesting because you get to have a lot of different opinions on that. But am I like audible around there? Okay. Yeah. So basically, that's what we did in those meetings, and every 2 weeks, around every 2 weeks, something like that, we have a planning day where we talk about the design of the system. So my team, there are a lot of teams at Bloomberg, and my team owns some chunk of the software, and then they're responsible. They own that software, right? So you can talk about. Uh, okay, I don't know. I was disturbed. Sorry, but anyway, anyway, planning days are like when we're gonna work on something big or something like that. The entire team is gonna go into like a meeting, a big meeting room, and then we're gonna have like a projector, and someone's gonna have like a whiteboard and like a marker, and engineers are gonna start drawing. It was very interesting. So that's the other type of meeting that we had. Other than that, it was well, one-on-ones. You're gonna have a lot of one-on-ones at Big Tech, so it could be with your mentor, it could be with your manager, it could be with someone you don't even know. It could be like a senior level manager. So lots of one-on-ones, right? So you get to share the experience with a lot of people in these meetings, and then other than that, it's basically working on your tasks. It depends. It depends. In sometimes the tasks are going to be clearly laid out, so you basically just get on a task and start working on them. But sometimes you may have to go into the planning room and then plan what tasks to do. So that was basically the workflow. And then when you write code, well, you can use VS Code. Or my personal favorite was Vim. I use Vim, by the way. So no, I'm just joking. Yeah, just a weird flex. Sorry, but anyway, you write code and then reviews, and then this process goes on again and again. So yeah, I would say this sums up my experience at Bloomberg working as an intern. And like, if you have any questions or anything, you can ask me.
Questions.
Um, I used to take a lot of breaks.
Usually.
Yeah,
Was free food
yeah.
number?
There is a lot of free food.
Free food.
Yeah, so that's why I got. Sorry.
Have a question?
Are there any questions from remote people? Did someone raise their hand?
I think
Probably.
someone joined.
Maybe someone joined or sent a message.
You adjust the camera position.
Oh,
No.
sorry.
Okay,
Okay.
questions, man.
I feel like it's better now.
Questions.
Questions.
Did you have like retrospective meetings at the end of a sprint? How did
Yes.
that go?
Yeah, so it's interesting because my workflow was a bit different from the team, because as an intern, you have a project that you need to finish in like in a set amount of time. For me, it was 12 weeks. So it's kind of hard to divide it into sprints. But my team, they were doing sprints and they had that meeting. But for me specifically, I didn't have to do sprint meetings, but it was optional. I can go and just sit and see what they do. I was encouraged actually to do that, to just join the team in whatever they do. But when it comes to my work, it's just basically I was going on my own pace.
Questions, guys? Go. We have them here for like 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
waiting Pete for you.
That's kind
Use the time. Okay, I guess.
Question.
Okay, question. Nice.
My question for you is like, we know that we take the work culture is very important. So,
Very what? Sorry? Tense. Tense.
I mean, like, culture is not like as you.
Yeah.
At Google, it's easier. You can tell them first then.
Yeah.
So, what is your working hour? How frequent can you take breaks or in also sleeping schedule?
Yeah. That's a really good question. Yeah. So it was my idea that it's gonna be very tense and I'm gonna be very busy and stuff like that. But I would say these big tech companies, they're big on work-life balance. So it's basically as long as you deliver on your tasks and you're going on a reasonable pace, no one really cares about your breaks or your working hours, I would say. But I mean, I don't know. But for me specifically, uh, I had some hours that I needed to be at the office, but sometimes I would like to stay a little bit longer and work on my project a bit more. So there's actually a funny anecdote that I have. On one of the days, it was like I usually get off work around like 5 p.m., right? So, but then on that day, I was working on something and I stayed a bit longer, like 5:30. And my manager, he was in a meeting, and then he came and I was still working. I was like, "What? Are you still here? This guy is working too hard." And he basically shut my laptop and he basically sent me home. I thought that was, yeah. So they don't want you to be burnt out. It's like it's a team, and as long as you're working on the tasks, and I would say from that perspective, it's a bit easier than here in ge- in most cases. But yeah, that's my experience. And the breaks things, um, we took breaks like every hour or every 2 hours. So there is a pantry where there is lots of chocolates and sweets and breakfast and stuff. So basically, the whole team just goes there and then we get something. It was pretty cool. I had my favorite. Okay, I don't want to get into that. I was gonna go and show you like a chocolate. It's called Jaffa Cakes, but you can do that on your own. It's pretty popular.
Okay, more questions, guys. Come on. That was the next question.
Yeah. Another one. Okay.
My other question would be like, what is the structure for improvements? So we start as an intern, then get full time or new grad offer, then like how many years and what type of dedication will it take to grow or climb the ladder and become a senior engineer?
That's a really nice question. I really like that question, and I had actually asked my manager and my mentor about basically this question. So in big tech, it's a bit different. It might differ from Google or Bloomberg, stuff like that. But at Bloomberg, it's not just linear; it's more like a matrix. So they value three skills. Mainly, it's product skills, people skills, and technical skills. The technical is like how good can you code. Product skills is like how well can you manage a project and can you take a project forward into completion. people skills is basically how will you communicate, right? It's pretty simple. And based on how you rank on these three different skills, you can have lots of different types of careers. So for example, let's say you're big on people skills. If you find it very easy to communicate and you have a reasonable amount of technical skills and high product skills, you can be a manager. So a manager is like you'll have some engineers working for you, yeah, and you'll be an owner of a project, and then you're responsible to get that project to completion. So you can be a manager. And then some people, they have a lot of technical skills, above average, and then people skills, let's say moderate, and then product skills there as well. You can be a technical lead. So a technical lead's role is basically, for example, you'll be the point of contact. For example, at Bloomberg, there are people that are tech champions. So, for example, I know an engineer. Whenever you want to know something about Python, you go to this guy because he knows everything there is to know about Python. So that's interesting, yeah. So you can have that type of career as well. And if you have a product skill, which is more than other people, and then technical and people skill somewhat below that, you can also be a product manager. So as you can see, it's lots of different types of careers you can have. And then there's also like hundreds that I did not mention. So do not think of it as like a ladder. Well, there is, of course, the concept of a ladder. For example, the current CEO of Bloomberg was an engineer. Right? He started out, I believe he started as an intern, and then now he's the CEO. So, what? Years? Honestly, I don't know. But like as I told you, it depends. It depends on a lot of factors and your ambition as well. So I would say there is no time frame for you, like a strict time frame. For example, they're not gonna say you've only been here for 3 years, you cannot be a senior or something like that. That's my assumption. There is no strict time frame, but as long as you have these different types of skills and you fit a role, you can go there.
Good answer.
Okay, thank you.
You like it? You sure?
Yeah, so this actually opened my mind into a lot of things. So you can start thinking of not just being an engineer, but you can go into different places, right? So yeah. Any other question?
Questions, guys. Come on. You have to have questions.
Question. Yeah. Um, yeah. So a wise man once told me, when you go into one-on-ones, you gotta have lots of questions that the time runs out before you run out of your questions. So that was what I followed basically. So it depends. For example, if you're gonna talk with your manager, you can talk about anything really. You can talk about the project because they know the project, right? You can talk about your working hours. You can talk about personal things as well. So it depends on what kind of relationship you have with that person, I would say. But it also depends on their background. For example, if I know this person is a senior manager and a core contributor to Python, I can ask a lot of questions about Python. So, for example, I met this engineer. He was a contributor to a popular package on Python. So I get to ask a lot of questions on that, right? So it depends on. I would say it depends on the person. Basically, all you have to do is do your homework, try to know about their background and what kind of things they're into, so that you have a nicer conversation. But for me, it's all about having a nice conversation and making connections, I'd say. Question? The same one. Okay. Is that a good answer? Fair.
Sure. More questions, guys. Come
More
on.
questions?
We have to have questions.
Yeah.
I think now that's okay. I'll get it.
Mhm.
So you last answer raised a question for me. Like you said, he was a contributor to Python packet, right?
Yeah.
What is the company's policy on resource contribution? Can you do it outside of your working hours? And can you also do side projects? Or maybe have your own side company?
Um, I don't know about that. You're gonna have to ask that to HR. I don't know, but about open source, but more about philanthropy in general. They Bloomberg does a lot of work in philanthropy, so that includes supporting charities and stuff like that. But one of the things included in that is contribution to open source. So at Bloomberg, they're heavy on C++, Python, and these days Rust. So they're actually really contributing to this projects, right? And then you get to, if you choose to, you get to contribute there as well. If you want to, there are guilds. You get to meet, for example, Guido van Rossum. Um, let's not go there, but you know Guido van Rossum, yeah? He's Python's creator. But you get to meet these people. So yeah, it's very possible.
Good. Okay, more questions. I think now I have a question.
A question. Fun activities. Yeah, definitely. Lots of fun activities. It was actually really fun. So I kind of repeated myself. Sorry, you had to witness that. You're supposed to laugh. Anyways, yeah, I was just stalling so that I could remember all the fun activities I did. There were movie nights. In the UK, musicals are popular, so we got to do musicals as well. And then I mentioned philanthropy. So there is this group. It's called Best of Bloomberg. So it's like um, through Bloomberg, you get to contribute to different. You get to do charity, basically philanthropy. So we did. Uh, for a whole day we built bikes, so we basically got a lot of bike parts like the tire in the body, and then we got wrenches and stuff, so we basically built around 150 bikes on a day. So that was pretty cool. And then we did lots of like played tennis and stuff like that. And then we did VR. So it looks like for the entirety of the 12 weeks there is one fun activity to do each week. I forgot some of them, but these are the most memorable ones to me. But it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, so any other questions, maybe?
See? Personal time. Personal. As in after working. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, looks. Yeah. What do you mean, like personal time? Yeah, for example, the weekend. You do. You gotta have. So it depends on what kind of contract you sign, right? But then, like the working hours, as I mentioned, they're big on work-life balance. So they don't want you to work after the work hours, which is not very like, you know, global program type of stuff. So you're not even required to take your PC to your home. So it's very, I'd say it's very, you're gonna have a lot of free time. Question. Me now. Okay. No, I'm gonna be frank with you. Yeah, I don't work for free. No, that's just a joke. But like, um, so returning back to Bloomberg as a full-time engineer, it's a bit different when you are an intern versus when you just interviewed and got the full-time role directly. So if you're an intern, you get to have a choice, so that you can go back to the team you were in as an intern, or you can basically pick a brand new team. Um, so some people already know what team they're gonna be working on, and then the tech stack and stuff like that. So you can, like in the background, you can try to learn more about them, so that it helps you when you get back there. But it's not mandatory or required. Yeah. Any other questions?
Definitely. I heard you attended the Google party in London.
I did. I did.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys are aware. No, but like London is like one of the cities where a lot of past A2SVians work. So when I was there, I believe there were like 20 A2SVians, like 10 people at Bloomberg and 8 people in Google, one Palantir, and I forgot one, but it was 20 people. So Brooks Databricks, yeah. Brooke also visited a lot of times as well. But anyways, we got to do a lot of fun stuff with them. One of them was, Isaac, right? Isaac the Great. So you don't know Isaac the Great? Don't know him. He's Group One A2SV. You can Google. You can. I think there's a video of him sharing his experience on YouTube. But anyways, yeah, he looks a bit different now because
A bit.
he grew up. But yeah, he works at Google, and he invited me to go to a party there as his plus one, and it was pretty fun. Yeah, when I say pretty fun, it was very fun.
Black books in between, right?
Yeah.
So, more questions, guys. Come on. Anything else? You guys could train him. Obviously, you're gonna see him every day, but
Yeah.
oh,
Trust.
So my question would be like, is there Asani side, right? So maybe seeing managers or engineers interviewing other candidates as basically. Right? So is there any insider information?
No.
he's on camera, like.
No, even if I wasn't on camera.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah. I can answer it. Yes. So at Bloomberg, there are four things they focus on. It's innovation, creativity. I forgot the two. I knew four of them, but I have like a handbook I can show you. But basically, they value these qualities a lot. For example, innovation. You have to be able to move forward with technology. So if you're, for example, if you may be a really good engineer, but if you're not receptive to new ideas, you're not gonna be as valuable. Let's say, right? So I would say if you want to just to answer your question, I'd say if you can show these qualities, because since they like these qualities, I'd say it will align. And after all, it's all about fitting in, right? So if they think you're a good fit, then I'd say it would work out. A question? Someone is trying to join. Okay.
Oh, I believe this is Dublin Google office.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
we have our guests here as well. Any more questions?
Any more questions for me? Because we have a guest.
Yeah. Should we continue?
Yeah. I mean, you can ask those questions other times as well.
He's here every day. I will make sure of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Fikar. That was nice. All right, so let me just find the slides. Yeah, so Q&A, I believe we answered a lot of questions, but feel free to ask. I will be here as well. So for the conclusive remarks, we have an SRE from Google. I believe it's abbreviation for Site Reliability Engineer. He works at the Dublin office. So Nathaniel Wendimu, if you may take over, the stage is yours. You're muted, Nathaniel.
My bad. Yeah, like I think the default setting for like a lot of people in the meeting is like starts muted. You know, that's reasonable.
That's true.
But like, yeah. All right, everyone. I want to say welcome because like what I've been told is like this is a new group starting internship, right?
It's second year actually. They have already finished the first year. Now they're only focusing on software engineering.
All right. So welcome to your second year internship, I guess. All right then. I don't know what have been discussed so far since I wasn't in the meeting link, but like if I'm gonna talk about a few things, I wanna talk about what would make this internship a success for you all, right? Because like at the end of the day, like whatever you do, by the end of it, you wanna look back, like be proud of what you achieved, and be like, yep, that was like best use of my time. Like I've grown as a person, as a professional, and things like that. Otherwise, like you would just be like wasting your time, right? So as you said, like this is your second year, so probably like nobody is like nervous or something to start this. But I would still think like as a milestone, you're probably excited, and more than anything, you should probably be ready to learn and grow like to the next chapter, right? I'm not sure, like since I'm not like seeing anything from my side, I'm not sure if people can hear me, like, or like there's a good voice quality from down there, like can people just react, thumbs up, whatever?
Yeah, definitely. Like you're quite audible.
Yeah, so like the main the main thing is I could think of like trying to remember like being where you are, like where you guys are like at the moment, and then the difference between these few years. What I think is very important for you guys would be quite a few things, right? Like the first one would be code quality. And what do I mean by that? Like, because like when I was a student, I don't know about you guys, you probably like half of you are better than me, but like my mentality was like, as long as it works, it's fine, right? And that is exactly the kind of mentality you should try to avoid and learn from early days, and commit into writing like a good quality of code. Like learn about best practices, because like you would want your code to be clean, well structured, easier to understand, easier to maintain, and like less prone to errors, right? Because these things take time to build, and you are at the best time in your career like to learn about these things, because like later on you'd have to like deliver something, and at the same time nobody's gonna let you do write like a bad code that doesn't follow like the best practices and things like that. So like it will be a real setback to learn like later on in your career, because like there are so many things I had to learn after I moved here. Like I wish that I focused on earlier when I was in school and stuff, because like in school projects usually you just like build the project and submit it to the instructor to be graded, right? And that's really, really bad. Or like the opportunity you guys have, I would say, would be like so fantastic, because in A2SV, like the way I remember it, we try to advocate to like good quality of code and code review and things like that. So like this is a really nice opportunity. Even in your school projects, I would say like if it's a group project, try to review each other's code and try to strive to write a better quality of code, whether the instructor cares or not. But this internship opportunity, I think, is like a really good opportunity for you guys to try and learn and like to write a better quality of code, like day in day out. Like which takes me to like my other point, which is like code review, because in code review, if I remember right, like I mean by our tradition, right, like you don't want to say your friend is not writing a good code, like and things like that. Like that's our understanding, I guess. But like you really need to build the mentality of like whoever is telling you how to improve your code or like the work you do is really doing you a favor. So like please I mean learn how to review a code, because like that's also part of you learning how to write a better code, right? Also like it's really important for each other's growth that you give your peers or by your seniors, you get like a really good code reviewing, right? Because that's really important skill to build. Yep, like, and one other thing I want to mention, like maybe the last thing but not definitely the least, is like documentation, because like I really used to feel not good about documentation because like it feels like some tedious work, and maybe it is, I don't know, like it depends on how people feel about it, but like building the habit of documenting things like clearly, like proposals, designs, discussions, decisions, playbooks, and all of like those things, like having it documented like in a well structured manner is really important. So like this is one of probably the most important thing I wish I developed as a habit like earlier on, so that like probably my skills at the moment would be like at a better level and I would have like a better projection. So at the end of the internship, probably you'll have an assessment like by A2SV or whatever, right? Like, yeah, you completed the internship and stuff, or like you something, maybe a report you can take back to school or something. I don't know what the setup is, but like from your point of view in a long term, like you could make the best out of this internship only if you focus on like your professional development on these things. And these are like the very few things, very important things that I like looking back that I wish I start developing the habit early on. Like strive every day to learn best practices and write a quality code. Review your peers code like with the best you can, and also like try to get a feedback loop like on your code, and write documentation every time, even if it seems like it's setting you back, like maybe it's a slow process to do that. Whenever, right, you want to like more than you writing a documentation to the product you're building right now, it's more important for you guys to learn to write like I mean to build the habit of putting down a really good documentation, clean documentation, writing the better code, yep, and the feedback loop. So like this is something I wish I mean like you probably know this in terms of like principles, but I never paid attention to it when, at least when I was like a junior student in like at that time. So like if you want to make the best out of this opportunity, I just wanted to chime in today and tell you this, that like this is the most important thing you could probably do at the moment. If anyone has any questions for me, I am like willing to answer. Otherwise, like I'm not gonna say a lot more things and like risk you guys would forget what I just said, because I really think these are like the most important things that I want to like pass on to everybody at the moment. Right, thank you. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer. Otherwise, that's all. Thank you for having me.
All right.
You're muted, yeah.
From AIT side, I think everyone is good. Anyone else from the other schools, maybe? Astu, Adam Astu.
As to are my guys. I have like very tiny favor to ask to than AIT. So like maybe I could get a couple of questions from us.
Yeah, Astu. He's asking for a favor, so
Yep.
definitely send out one question. I think everyone is shy today, right? Okay, I guess no questions.
Yeah, we don't have any question.
Okay, so no questions. That was quite nice, not nice. Thank you for the closing remarks. Definitely would want to see you in the future as well. Yeah, definitely thank you. And till next time.
Thank you very much. Best of luck for everybody. All right. I'll see you sometime soon, I hope.
And back to the slides now. The closing remarks. And as an A2SV tradition, the quote of the day. So a weird quote, I would say. Didn't have a writer. We are all in the same ship. Own it.